Hello everybody, my name is Cotangent Theta and you are watching Simple Geometry, the best Overwatch coaching series on YouTube. Today we have part 2 of our support gameplay submissions by Vexarath, so let's jump into it. And actually before we jump into it, I want to show you something about your crosshairs. So crosshairs a lot of the time are personal preference, but when it comes to projectiles, there's something you can do to help you lead your shots. So you can see with this particular crosshair, it's a big circle with some dots on all four sides. Use the circle and crosshair type crosshair, and you have the actual crosshair part of it be really short, like 1 or 2 pixels. So as you can see, this applies at any distance, whether it's the near guy, this far guy here, or anyone in between. You lead your shots by this amount, and if they are moving perpendicular to your line of sight, you are going to hit them if you fire when that dot is right on them. This is the Zenyatta crosshair, and these are the parameters for that crosshair. And this is the Ana crosshair. It's a little bit different because you have 2 different shots that go at different speeds. There is your primary fire, which is a little faster than a Zen orb, and there's also your sleep dart.
Lights out.
You see, I got that guy way back there. It's a little tricky because not only do you have to lead the shot by the amount of the circle plus the crosshair extension, you also need to account for the delay in actually shooting it and track him so that that edge of the crosshair is going to be on him
It's quiet time.
when you actually release the dart. These are the parameters for the Ana crosshair. Lastly, here is the Lucio crosshair. The only reason this has an extended crosshair is because the circle itself is not big enough to account for the speed of Lucio's projectiles. They're too slow.
Right on target.
Like you can see, if you can track your target with the trailing edge of the crosshair, you're going to get some nice headshots. These are the parameters for the Lucio crosshair. Alright, so let's take a look at our team comp here. It looks pretty decent. We've got Orion Zarya, that's great. Ana Zen, that's great. Reaper Mei, that is interesting. It's very close range. I would suggest that maybe the Reaper goes in, you focus healing on him, and maybe the Mei stays back as a bodyguard for the Ana and Zen in this particular comp. I think that can be very effective. But what's actually going on? I doubt your Mei is going to want to be a bodyguard to anyone in gold. She's going to go off and try to freeze things and headshot them. But anyway, I actually don't see your Mei. Oh, there she is. Yeah. She's going down to the spawn. So our Zarya's going to try to get some cheeky ult charge, that's fine. Yeah, okay, you get some shot. You missed that shot because the critical icon went away and she moved behind the Rhine, so you couldn't actually see where she was there. Now, that brings me to another point, which is that I don't really like your positioning here. I don't like it at all. It's interesting. It's like you're very safe from the enemy, at least as they're coming out. But I would like a position more over here. Because, why would I like that? Because, first of all, you can shoot down this corridor. You're behind the Rhine barrier. You mentioned just now they have a Pharah. You probably heard the Pharah. No one on your team can deal with Pharah except for you and sort of Zen. So both of you need to be putting shots into that Pharah while you have a chance. And you can see the whole enemy team, and you might actually be able to see your Mei, because we actually have no idea where your Mei is right now. This is something you always want to think about when you're playing the game. Like, how much information do you have? Overwatch is an absolute overload of information. So if you ever don't feel... you should have hit those shots, but the first one was a bit of a juke from the Wraith. But the second one should have hit. And there's Junkrat. He comes up and he just shoots bombs into you. I don't know why your team didn't notice him there, but you could have like been closer to your team if you had been standing in that position I mentioned. Anyway, Overwatch, what I'm saying before about the information overload. If you ever don't feel overwhelmed by what's going on in Overwatch, it probably means that you have, like, closed your brain to some of the input that you're receiving from the game. Right? It means you're not thinking hard enough about, like, the whole state of the game.
Okay. Well,
And this is interesting because they have no tanks. I think this is what you meant when you implied rather that this is not a good game, because it's pretty ridiculous. They have 5 DPS and a Mercy. So you might think if the enemy team has a composition with only 1 healer, you might think, okay, target the healer. But in this case, Widow is going to be off on high ground somewhere. Ashe is going to be off on high ground somewhere. Pharah's in the sky. Genji is in the back of your team, and God only knows where Junkrat is at any given time. So that means that this whole battlefield is Mercy's playground. On a 2-second cooldown, she can fly practically anywhere. Without great coordination, your team is not going to kill this Mercy. So, what you need to be doing is calling out, focusing these individual DPS targets, moving as a unit, taking them out, right? And I would say it's even more important in this case for Mei to be your bodyguard here, because this Genji is going to come and she's going to destroy Zen. And destroy Ana. It's going to destroy both of you. So, yeah. Let's see what actually happens. Because this comp is not a hard comp to beat if you're coordinated and call targets, and stay behind shields and such. But look at this, they've got the perfect stagger. Right? They killed 3 at the start, and then they killed the other 3 now. And now there's no possible way you can contest. Your Ryan needs to get out of there. Like, you gotta regroup with 6. I think you were calling for your team to regroup earlier, and that's the right call, but your team really needs to group here. Okay.
There's a Buddha behind. Buddha behind.
Good, that's fine. Nader. That shot went wide. There was no chance for being over there where you shot that, but it's difficult when you're in very close range. Riptower, you gotta reset now. That's gonna be the problem with this comp. There's gonna be nothing but support or DPS ultimates coming out from the enemy team constantly. I hate that Zenyatta died right then. Okay, we go back here, and what do we see? Okay, we heal that person. Genji is coming through, and Widow is up here. So now we know 2 things. Widow is on the left. Where do we want to be? We want to be back and to the left side of this door, so that we can actually peek out and heal things without being in Widow's sightlines. Furthermore, who do we know is over here? It is Genji, and Genji is about to kill our Zenyatta, as we know because we went forward. But you should have known that already when you tucked yourself in that corner where you can't heal Zenyatta. Your Zenyatta's not going to kill the Genji. I mean, he can, it's possible, but he doesn't. So you want to be tucked away in the left, not in the right here. Now, you put yourself in a situation where you're actually boxed in by the Widow's sightlines. Yeah, heal up that McCree, good. Heal him and reload. Yeah, you took too long to heal him. So let's think about what other ultimates they're going to have. I mean, it's going to be constant DPS ultimates. You can stop Barrage with your Sleep Dart. She's probably close to Barrage. The Genji... Okay, yeah, the Genji is doing a lot. The Junkrat is also doing a lot because he got his Riptire, remember? So he must have been doing a lot. I haven't seen Bob. But yeah, Widow and Genji are a big deal. Now, you just called for your Reinhardt to switch to a Winston. Or rather, you called for a Winston. But you know it's going to be the main tank that does it. And I don't like that because of one very important thing. This is why I don't like that call. Now, you mentioned before, good that we have a Zarya, they have nothing to protect them from grab. But, also, the fact that they don't have any barrier tank means that this is going to be a juicy shatter. There's no possible way to block that. He's not going to get like a 6-man shatter because they're all spread out, but he'll get 2, maybe 3 people in the shatter. Fire strike, charge, 2 of them are dead, the team follows up on the 3rd one. Like, it might even be better if one of our DPS actually switched to Winston, because I don't feel like... Oh, they actually both, Mei and Reaper both switched to hit scan to counter Pharah. I guess it's working. That's funny. But you don't need both of them. You could actually have a McCree or a soldier, and then replace either of those with a Winston. I don't like the Reinhardt switching to Winston.
Genji or like the main part.
Let's move it back forward. Okay. Okay, you fired a sleep dart, but she wasn't even in your field of view there. I think it was just sort of a wild guess sleep dart. I like you finally moved out of that corner. You tricked the Genji. Okay, so let's look at these missed shots on the Genji here. So, okay, right here I would say is like the first frame where you can see he's starting to go upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 frames before you start shooting. So this you cannot react to, it's too fast. We're at 30 frames a second, 5 frames is a sixth of a second. This is going to be like an esports professional at their peak is going to have a reaction time of a sixth of a second at the best of times. So you can't react to this. Let's go forward here and see your second shot though. He's going down on a predictable arc. He's used his double jump. And you just miss, basically. He's going down on his predictable arc, you just miss. And that's either a visualization problem, like you're not visualizing his arc properly, or it's an execution problem. So if you take a look at this, there's a bit of like a jerk of your crosshair before you do that. Like you jerk it up to sort of follow his arc and then over, so maybe it is an execution issue or maybe it's a visualization issue. It's very difficult to sort of unravel those two things a lot of the time. But still, yeah. See, you went and you healed someone who was full instead of going for your Brigitte who's critical. And if you had just waited on that shot until you rounded that corner and Brigitte got in your line of sight, there was a chance you could have gotten a shot off. But it's not totally guaranteed. Now, this is a very common visualization error here, where you're aiming at a falling target. What you're doing is you're visualizing his fall, but you're not visualizing where he's going to actually hit the ground. So, obviously, he was dead before you fired your shot anyway. It doesn't matter in this case, but you can see if we go frame by frame, he's falling, he dies, he lands right here, right? He lands here, but your mind is still basically anticipating that he's going to keep falling, even though we know logically he's going to hit the ground, but your mind isn't taking that into account with its visualization. So you should be aiming your crosshair here for your shot. But what actually happens is you aim here, as if he was going to keep on falling. So that's a really common visualization error that I also make all the time, right? There's a falling target, and you just instinctively aim your crosshair below where he's actually going to land, instead of anticipating the landing and aiming for where he is actually going to land. That's where you want to aim. Clean up, clean up, clean up, good. Okay. So what is the plan? Right? What ultimates are they going to have? A bunch of DPS ultimates, probably. They could easily have another tire. Oh.
Widow behind, Widow behind.
Yeah, they had another tire. I didn't hear it because I don't have the game audio here. What in the world is your Brigitte doing? Okay. I mean, first of all, you shouldn't miss this. Second of all, you're calling Widow behind. I guess you should call Widow back left, because your Brigitte clearly doesn't know where behind is, because she is holding up her shield facing away from that Widowmaker, which is... it's not a smart thing to do. And she dies. Okay, now you should be hitting the shots on this Winston here. Let's go forward a few frames. You scope in, and you fire basically directly underneath him. So to me, that indicates that your visualization of his fall was incorrect. You were visualizing a fall with a lot more gravity, a lot more acceleration, but in fact, Overwatch is a pretty floaty game compared to real physics. But if he had fallen faster, he was lower, you would have hit it. So I don't think it's an execution problem. You quick-scoped in, you shot where you thought he was going to be, but you just visualized it completely wrong. I mean, that's what I think anyway. Obviously, it's very hard to disentangle visualization errors from execution errors. Okay, now this Winston has stopped. He's jumping back, and you miss him. So let's go back and watch this frame by frame here. He's just stopped. He's clearly not moving left anymore. So that's 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame, 4 frame, 5 frame, 6, 7, 8, 9. On the 9th frame, you shoot as if he was still continuing in that direction. 9 frames is almost a third of a second, worth 30 FPS. So that should be enough time for you to react. What that tells me is that you are visualizing his movement too far in advance. Basically, it's an issue where you know that you have to sort of mentally lead your shots to be able to hit them, but you're thinking too far ahead so that you're not actually reacting to changes in the situation, changes in what he's doing. So if you don't visualize so far ahead, what you can do is actually react faster, because as soon as someone changes the direction you're going, you have to throw away the whole 1/5 of a second or 1/4 of a second visualization you've done in your mind and build a new one based on where they're going. And that takes mental energy. It's not instantaneous. So it's important that that visualization in your mind be as short as possible so that your reactions can just kick in and adjust when the situation changes. So 9 frames, you should have been able to react. Let's go forward. He jumps. You hit him. That's good. He moves over here. Okay, he's still going that. Oh, he stopped. You can see his momentum stopped in this frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He really juked you there. So 7 frames. That's less than a 1/4 of a second. So an esports pro can react in that amount of time. I probably cannot react in less than a 1/4 of a second, unless I'm really focused and looking for a very specific thing. I think my reaction time is about 210 milliseconds or so, so slower than a 1/5 of a second, but a little faster than a 1/4 of a second. So that would be a tough one to react to, but there is a tip that you can use when you're aiming at tanks that will actually help you, even in cases where they're kind of juking your shots. So if this big tank, Winston, let's go back just a little bit. So he's moving to the left. So what you want to do is put your crosshair on the right half of his body. Because you know he's moving to the left. He can't move faster to the left. He can only change his momentum to the right. So if you aim for the left side of his body, he can't juke you out by moving more to the left than you expect. But if he shifts his momentum to the right, you can potentially still get a shot in, even if it's unexpected. Like, imagine if we had a shatter here on cart. Because they have to push carts. Someone's got to be on cart. You go, you shatter the cart, you easily get at least 1. Probably more than 1, because you've got 4 on cart right now. That's an easy 4-man shatter.
Yeah, we could really use a diva for the widow.
Yes, I like that as well, right?
Yeah, we should.
So now that we've blown Grav, so I was going to mention this before, but I thought she's getting close to Grav. Let's keep her till she has Grav. Now she's blown Grav, definitely get her on Diva. If we had like a Winston Diva Reinhardt here, that actually sounds pretty good. Because we have Reinhardt for those shatters that they can't possibly block, and then Winston Diva to go after their snipers and take care of Genji. What could be good? Well, okay, why did we switch to a Brick? I guess to deal with the Genji? But she's not. She's just contesting point and getting killed. I think you should tell that Brigitte, get on voice and tell that Brigitte to just stand next to you and protect you, because you're the one doing basically all the healing. They don't have a tank-heavy comp, so she can't easily go in and swing. Like, it's a lot of DPS. Most of them have a lot of mobility. She's not going to have Inspire up very much. So her biggest job should just be protecting you, especially now that the Mei is gone. So you want her definitely protecting
just like
you here.
Just and let them down.
That's unfortunate. You kinda... yeah. Anyways.
I mean, as long as... I mean,
That's
Genji and
fine.
Widow are like the primary things, like, keeping the comp alive. Get rid of them and we're good.
Yep. Yep. So have the D.Va go after the Widow, but make sure you heal her because she's going to get headshot by the Widow with her huge head hitbox. Now you hit a wall there with your shot, and I don't like it when people hit walls because that is definitely an execution problem. You shouldn't be hitting walls, right? If you miss a regular shot, okay, it could be a prediction problem, it could be a visualization problem, or maybe they just literally juked you. You had no way of knowing. If you hit a wall, you know it's your fault, right? You know you absolutely should not be hitting walls. So don't shoot walls. You shot a wall again. So if you're shooting someone that is just around a corner, line up your crosshair with the edge of the wall, and that gives you your best chance to hit them if they peek out of the corner. Don't worry about where they are, because you know that they're intersecting that sort of wall boundary if you're going to get them at all. Nanoing Winston could be... oh, well, he's dead. So you're all dead. D.Va's feeding. You got a few shots in. Yeah, you gotta go around. See, you sort of wasted precious time going that way, I feel.
Here, take this.
Okay, switch to Lucio, that's fine. Because I feel like with the fight being all over everywhere, so many walls and corners, everyone's going behind places, your Ana wasn't having as much impact. Oh my goodness. What's going on? There we go. Your Ana wasn't having as much impact as she could be. And this is just chaos here. Yeah, amp heals, I guess. I don't know who you were decided to amp heals for, maybe yourself. Okay, okay. That was a riptire. I'm gonna go back here. So, he gets up, he pulls out his riptire, and you are gliding around this wall. And recently they changed it so you can glide around corners. So what I think I would like you to do here is just keep gliding, go up top, and just assassinate him while he's using his riptire. Lucio's kill combo, as I'm sure you know, is quadruple headshot, boop, punch. And that kills a 200 HP target. And if he is sitting there casting riptire, you can actually land that on him. So I would have loved to see you actually go up top there and get him.
Good junk, good junk. Nice.
Yeah, definitely stay
Get behind.
mostly on healing when you can, because you really, with so many DPS ults on the table, you really want to build, a sound barrier, because otherwise they can get some huge ult combos on you, or even just a single ult, like a Genji blade with damage boost. You definitely want your sound barrier for that. You could just chase down this Mercy here. You could just chase her down. Even if the Reaper comes for you, your team is going to get the Reaper. So I think you could have chased that Mercy down there. Why are you all the way over there? Was there a flanker? I think you should stay with your team a little bit more, because otherwise your auras aren't doing much. Okay, there's Bob. We want to beat here. Oof. That D.Va's Matrix absolutely saved your sound barrier and basically saved your team there.
They got a lever?
That was a huge defense matrix to like save you with that 5 HP. Heal yourself, dude. You're at 50 something. Like that whole beat, you were on speed, and I'm like, you're gonna come out of that beat with 5 HP, you know? Like, you gotta swap to heals at some point. But fortunately, it turned out okay here. Okay, now what is the plan? We have some ultimates.
Left is now Hanzo.
Okay, we're using Whole Hog here. But why?
Reaper's gonna ult, Reaper's gonna ult.
What was that? You just used Amp It Up. But everyone is basically full health here.
Reaper's gonna ult, Reaper's gonna ult.
Oof. And see, this is why you don't want to use Amp It Up there, because an actual DPS ult can come out of them at literally any moment because they have 5 DPS. And what happened? You used your amp, he pulls out his Genji blade, and now you can't amp speed to get away from it. Genji pulls his blade out. If you don't have sound barrier, then what you need to do is amp speed, boop him, get the team away from him. He loses the value from his blade. Even if you do have sound barrier, you might even hold it if you're confident you can knock him away, and if you have your amp. But now you don't have your amp, you don't have any sound barrier, and Genji has pulled out his blade, and this is not going to be a good time. Oh my goodness, she blew rally on a blade. Guys, don't rally when Genji pulls his blade out. You don't build your armor fast enough, and armor is only going to mitigate 5 damage per swing. That's 120 HP swing. Don't use rally there. This is... You were a little bit too up in their face, I feel, there. Like, you could have been going back and forth behind the payload. Yeah, it's a good call, like, tell her to send out the Diva Bomb. Put it, like, right on the payload, zone them out, or right above the payload. Ah, looks like we didn't need it. Oh, no, she actually did do it. She actually did. So maybe that was zoned them out. Maybe that's why. Anyways, that is absolutely crazy. But I think a good comp to switch this is, like, triple tank with 2 dive tanks, because the Reinhardt shatter is huge. Alright, we're gonna jump ahead here. Alright, let's head out the doors. Watch out for snipes on your way out. It looked like your diva had like a quick defense matrix up. That's good.
That's a huge pick. That's a huge pick. There's Genji behind.
Yeah, where's that Genji? You gotta look up when you're looking for Genjis too. You can't just look around. Because he can be, like, Spider-Manning up the walls here, most likely. That's good. That's nice. I like the speed boost for the chase down. You're controlling the engagement. As Lucio, you really want to be controlling the engagement and helping chase down targets like that. That's really good. So you're chasing after your diva here. I don't know about the speed amp there. Because even if you get to your diva faster, now you don't have heal amp anymore. And if she was still taking sustained fire, your regular 16 healing per second is not going to do that much. I don't really have too much to say about your movement as Lucio, because I'm not a Lucio player. But, like, you're using the walls, you're jumping around, you've got some rollouts, like...
Okay, let's group up, let's group up.
I don't have any major problems with that. That's good. Call the group up.
I'm gonna contest this Widow.
Where is the Widow? Oh, there she is. So you said you're going to contest the Widow, but I don't see you doing it. Where is she anyway? There she is. Okay, that's good. So you're following up. That's good. As Lucio, you can definitely do this. But she was dead. You took so long to get there that, like, it didn't actually do any good. But at least you didn't get caught in the riptire. Alright, now, yeah, just keep your healing up and try to build your sound barrier. And whatever you do, don't use it this fight. Don't use it until your respawns come in. Amp for Orisa, good. Okay, so your respawns had come in and you're basically saving everyone from Genji, so that's good. Like, if he had prematurely pulled that blade when it was, like, 2 of you still there, I would say don't beat. Like, just take the regroup and you have your barrier for example, a rocket barrage. Or a bob. Ooh, or a riptire. These guys have at least 2 DPS ults every fight. It's absolutely crazy. I would say... you probably want to have, like, triple support, like Zen Lucio, so you have more actual defensive ultimates. Because their DPS ults are just destroying you.
Junk might be a good pick, because of the snipe choke.
I don't agree. I don't agree that Junk is a good pick here against them, because Junk is good against hitting big targets and not really good against hitting small targets. Something like a Hanzo... I would love to see a Hanzo against this comp. Just, the Widow scopes in for a headshot, Hanzo gets an easy shot on her. Okay, so there are 2 problems here against this Widow. First of all, there is your aim here. You just jumped, and that totally threw off your aim for that shot. It's going out into space, and it has no chance to hit Widow. Now, you're landing, you're sort of readjusting your aim, and it sort of goes wild. And then this one, it's fine, it had a chance to hit, but she was just strafing away. Whatever. But, now my problem is, at this point, you are just moving in a straight line backwards for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. An entire second you are moving in a straight line. So do not ever move in a straight line against Widowmaker, especially not forward backwards, which is less motion relative to her field of view. At least straight side to side against Widowmaker.
Oh, Widow's literally one hit. Be careful, you only have Anna.
And now Hana's dead, but it looks like the whole enemy team is dead. And that Junkrat actually is doing work, even though he's not a Hanzo.
You have no healers? Nice.
I don't understand the Orisa pick from your team, honestly. I would much rather that was a Winston.
Yeah, because Winston will really help with that Genji.
Okay, who's switching to Winston, though? Because I like the Reinhardt ultimate against this comp a lot more than I like the Orisa ultimate. Yeah, definitely, yeah, put your orb out. That's huge. Huge sleep. Huge play off your Ana there.
Huge sleep.
Okay, Discord and Harmony Summity. Right, let's talk about the orb management here. Okay, we've got Discord on someone, but your Winston is in the middle of a fight. Now he's critical. If your orb was on him, he wouldn't be critical.
I'm on fire, I'm on fire. Heal me.
Your Ana was just about to heal you there. That's unfortunate. But I think you stood still a little too long there. It's one thing to stand still to wait for your Ana to heal you when you're in a safe spot, but you were just sitting out on the porch of the church, and you know that you're potentially in line of sight from that room where the soldier was. So if you had like hid behind the payload and crouched, that would have been, I think, a much better position to wait for healing for your Ana.
I have trans as well.
Yeah, good. Got our Discord on him, but who are we going to put our Discord on next? Oh, healer Baby Diva. Okay, well, this fight's... Wait, are we winning this fight? Let's do some kill feed math here. Okay, down one. Bob's dead. Even. Ah, yeah, that's winnable, but you have no healers, so you need to play safe and use health packs. Your Orisa needs to move up to support your Winston and put a shield up in front of him. Okay, Orisa's dead.
We need to group up and coordinate a little bit.
Yes, at this point it is now 4v6 because their respawns are back.
The Junkrat playing. Focus Junkrat. Focus Tempest.
But I mean, if they're not doing it, you have to go in and fight with them. You absolutely have to. This is a good call. So this is something that I talk about a little bit with Zenyatta. Your biggest ability...
He's discorded?
Your biggest ability with Junkrat is just your microphone. Because getting people to actually focus on the same target is so huge. Even if you put your Discord orb on someone and you don't say anything, like people will sometimes call out who you've Discorded. It's great. Okay, so we're about to try to kill this Mercy. We're putting our Discord orb on her, and she stays pretty much in the middle of this archway the entire time that you're shooting at her. She sort of moves maybe a little to the right, now she moves a little bit to the left, and now she's moving back to the right. Since she just moved to the left and was moving back to the right, I would expect you to be aiming a little more to the left. So this feels like either an execution error, you're not putting your crosshair in the right place, or it's a really bad visualization error, where you are still sort of basing your visualization off of her movement to the right when she flew into Ash, in which case you need to keep a closer eye on your target so you can adjust your visualization of their hitbox a lot faster than that, because that was like half a second ago when she flew in like that. And now, okay, now she starts moving to the left. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that could have hit. if she hadn't juked you. She basically juked that shot, so it's that's reasonable to miss that. Now she opens with her Guardian Angel. That was 2 frames, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you had 11 frames to realize that she was Guardian Angeling over to the left, but you didn't adjust your aim nearly enough to factor in her speed for this Guardian Angel. So that tells me that basically either you didn't interpret those first few frames as the start of Guardian Angel, or you completely misvisualized the speed at which she was going to Guardian Angel, because you're missing by quite a bit here. Like, your crosshair is here. By the time your projectile actually gets to where it would hit her, she's going to be probably over here already. So it's... that one's not going to hit. So she goes over here. Again, you don't really... it's fine because she's like swooping right past you, right? I don't expect you to hit that shot. Now you start charging. I think you were leading some of those shots a little too much. I think you got one hit there, though, and then another shot, and that's fine. So, yeah, if you look at where your crosshair is, this is roughly... this point on your screen would need to be on Mercy. So if you think about it in terms of being Mercy-centric, for the speed of your projectile, you would want to put your crosshair here, and that would be leading your shots against Mercy. So that's why I showed you that crosshair earlier that you can use for Zenyatta. That helps you a lot when they're just strafing perpendicular to your line of sight. Okay, who's your Harmony on? Put your Harmony on somebody. There's like a couple of critical targets, and your Harmony is not on anybody right now. Winston. Heal Winston. No, go back. Don't go forward. Go back and heal your Winston. Alright. So that was a case of like the fight magnet thing, where you want to get in closer to the fight, and somehow, for some unfathomable reason, you find yourself pushing W and going forward. You don't want to do that in that situation. If you step back, you make yourself a lot safer. You can actually see your whole team. You can actually heal somebody. And your healing is super important. You just used your ult, and that is a slow-ass ult to charge. So you want to have your Harmony Orb on tanks when you're trying to charge your ult. And your Winston could have given you a lot. Good. Harmony Discord are up. Yes, shuffle it to Orisa to get the ult charge. Oh, also you have a Lucio now instead of an Ana. So you need to be extra careful about keeping your tanks up. So if you have an Ana, generally main healer heals tanks, off healer heals DPS. But when you have a Zenyatta, you also heal your tanks when you can, because your ult is very important, much more important than Nano. And if you have any space between fights where you just need to be topped up, you let your Zenyatta do it. Because, again, that Transcendence ultimate, much more important than Nano most of the time. The only time you wouldn't do that is if Nano needs to be charged and Zen already has Trance. Okay, that's pretty reasonable shooting. I can see you're trying to get your Discord on him. He's just kind of juking around. You could have put your Harmony Orb on Lucio. Back here, you need to put your Harmony Orb on Lucio. You have it on Reaper, but he's full health. Your Lucio's critical.
Oh, that's a huge beat. That's a huge beat.
That was a nice beat. That saved your Winston, I think. The thing is, though, if you're the Junkrat, you can just kind of wait. You have 10 whole seconds of that Riptire. Alright, so the Doomfist came and he sort of killed everybody, so that's a shame. This fight is probably over. Your Winston needs to be getting on mic if he wasn't. I can't tell, but what in the world is Ashe doing?
Huge, huge, huge.
She's just standing there. She's literally just standing there. You might as well put a big sign over your head that says, "Shoot me. Shoot me." Like, what is even going on? I think your Reaper comes up and literally one-shots him with a headshot. Don't do that. That's so funny. It's like... It was such a juicy target that he came out of Wraith right in front of a tactical visor to get the shot. And got the shot before he got killed. Yes, that's a good call. We have one more group up if we don't get killed. Your Winston's being a little aggressive. I like that.
We gotta go.
I like that charge shot. Yeah, you're doing a good job pretty much of charging up
We need to
before you shoot. Yeah, it's really tough to play
Yes.
Zenyatta into
Nice.
Doomfist because you just kind of get destroyed. But your calls,
Honestly, that was really harder than it needed to be, but they were.
yeah, your calls pretty much got your team through that second point because that was a 4v6. You just put your Discord on people and told people who to shoot, and your team killed them, and you took that second point. So that was actually pretty good off of you there. Overall, there's not a lot else to say because we discussed the major points, right? Like, what heroes are good against this enemy comp. You know, dive tanks and Reinhardt, because you're going to get that huge shatter, easy 4-man shatter on cart if you have a Reinhardt against this composition. Like, that's a win. Rein, Diva, Winston. So that's basically dive goats. And you could have the 3 supports, or you could have hit scan to deal with the Pharah like a McCree. You probably aren't going to come up against this comp too much. And that is it for today's video. Today, I guess I talked a little bit more about team play and team comps and counterplay to their team than I did about your individual play, which I think I covered pretty thoroughly last time, and I was expecting this game to be bad in the sense that you're like losing more fights or your mistakes are costing the game, but I mean, that's not any more true in this game, I feel, than in the previous game we watched, because you did make mistakes that lost fights in both games. In this game, you actually did some great things, like calling out your Discord targets that were winning games and so forth, but this game was a little bit more macro-focused for the review, so I hope that's also helpful in addition to what we covered in the previous video, and I'd say that's about it. My name is Cotangent Theta, and this has been Simple Geometry. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you would like to submit a clip for Simple Geometry, make sure to follow the instructions that are on the screen right now. And as always, remember, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing badly.